Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Azrael, Death, Dark Knight. Take a look at this comic cover right here. Now, Azrael, Dark Knight is going to be a fairly quick review, because this was only a 5-issue story, and really it kind of gets broken up into 2 stories. The first story is the introduction of this Azrael, new Azrael. See, the previous Azrael that we had was Jean-Paul Valley, who actually took up the mantle of Batman. Now, I always liked Jean-Paul Valley, whether he was Batman or Azrael, or if he was the State Puffman. It really didn't matter to me. I thought he was a cool character. And this Azrael is a completely different character. He was actually one of the Batman replacements during Batman R.I.P., Batman Black Glove, Batman and his son, all those Grant Morrison stories, Michael Lane. And he gets released from the hold that's put on him, and he starts to, become a good guy again, and he takes up the persona of Azrael. But it's not as simple as him finding the costume in the trash and putting it on, like some superheroes do. No, there's actually a whole entire sect and religion committed to this Azrael. Now, we all knew beforehand that there was the Order of St. Dumas, which was the sect and religion and cult that the first Azrael was part of. There's actually a minor religious cult that branches off of it, which is the Order of Purity, I believe it's called, or Order of Light. I believe it's Order of Purity, and they have a less maniacal Azrael, less vengeful, less smiting Azrael in this Azrael right here. And they needed a new one, so Michael Lane fits the picture. In addition to that, he gets the Suit of Sorrows, which was the suit that Batman wore during, for a short time during the Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul and in Private Casebook. And he also gets the Sword of Salvation and the Sword of Sin, which are both 2 cool swords. They are badass. In this story, he starts to find out that, life may suck, but hey, there's a chance for me to fix things. And along the way, he meets up with a bunch of interesting characters, go toe-to-toe with Talia, Ghul, and Nightwing. And in the second story arc, he teams up with Batman, Robin, the Second Question, and, well, things just don't go right in that team up. Because you really start to see the Suit of Sorrows go cuckoo with them. See, the Suit of Sorrows make people go crazy. That's why Batman took it off, because it made him go crazy. Anyways, with that said, we'll just jump into the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. Well, I like the new Azrael. He has a very tragic backstory, tragic history, and it works well for him. Better than I dare say Jean-Paul Valley, because Jean-Paul Valley only had the systems to motivate him to be Azrael. This guy actually has a backstory. Although I do prefer Jean-Paul Valley as Azrael, this guy pulls it off pretty well, and I like him as Azrael. I like to see more of him as Azrael. He looks good, he has a good image, and I like his items that he has, a good backstory. On a whole, a good character. The story's art was nicely done. I like how it had kind of a, I don't know what's the term to use, but it's like an old-fashioned kind of art. It reminds me of art that you'd probably see during like a comic book for the Crucible. I know, it's kind of weird, but anyways, the art is nice. I like the art, and it fits the story. In addition to that, the 2 stories were okay stories. They weren't great stories, they weren't bad, they held my interest. They made me want to turn the page. Bad. Well, the first bad is that the stories really don't go anywhere. I mean, you get the first story which starts things going, and you think it's going to continue on and continue being good, and then kind of just stops. Right there, it just stops. It's just like, see this? Oh, I'm blowing it, and then it stops. Just like that. It's, what? Hopefully they continued that onward in the later issues for Azrael, but I don't know. I'm only picking up the trade. Second thing is the second story doesn't have anything to do with the first one at all. Actually, Azrael isn't the main character in the second story. He only shows up. It feels more like a Batman story. Actually, during the story, I had to remind myself that I wasn't reading Batman and Robin, and I was reading Azrael. And that can't be good if you're reading a story about a character. So, next thing is, really, where are you going to go with this character? I don't see you going anywhere with him. I want to see more of this character, but really, where are you going with him? That's another thing. I don't see too much of a future with this comic. They really need to impress me more. They gave me very little for story to really kind of hook me in. So on the whole, whether or not you should get it, no. I recommend avoiding it right now. Maybe when it's cheap. I mean, right now it's $14.99, but maybe when it's cheap, or if you can buy it online, then you can pick it up to try to get into the story. But really, as for a story arc, it was very weak. It had some nice, good stuff, like introducing a cool new character, some cool new adaptations to the Azrael backstory. But really, I mean, I'd rather go buy another Sword of Azrael story arc for Batman than read this again. It really wasn't that good. And it's not that it's absolutely horrible. It's just comparing it to everything else that's being released for Batman right now. Red Robin, Batgirl, Batman and Robin, Streets of Gotham, Gotham Sirens, Batwoman. I mean, the list goes on. Outsiders. Those are all great stories. Batman Reborn is a great series right now. It's just this didn't fit well in it. So, on the whole, Azrael, Dark Knight, I would avoid it. Hopefully the second story arc is better. So with that said, I'm going to end this review here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.